to Blogging for Programmers. Today I want to talk about something I hinted in episode 6, and that is what matters the most. It doesn't matter, it's not the only thing, but it's the main thing. Like, it doesn't matter if you have an ugly website. Okay. Doesn't matter. It can be just plain text. Doesn't matter if you can understand every single thing they're talking about. I know you can't mind sometimes. I get off on tangents. I don't always think about what the audience already knows, especially happens when I'm trying to explain something to someone. I just assume they know everything that's in my head, and I just add on the things that are new. I'm usually wrong, but the main thing is if the person can read the code, look at the pictures, look at the screenshots, and get an idea of what you're talking about. That is the number one thing. I don't go to a website on SQL Server. I don't go to a website on programming or coding or any of that saying, I'd like to be told a nice story in the nice possible way. That's not the case. I go to a website. I want to know how to answer the question. I've asked a question. And in these days, I've honestly already decided that the AI answers that search engines are giving aren't good enough. So I'm looking at your blog and I'm thinking, hey, how do I do this? So it doesn't matter looks. It doesn't matter that it's perfect. What matters is the technical content is correct. It feels like it was written by a human. And that's honestly, it's interesting. The last one is something you're going to see a lot of. If anything feels like it wasn't written by a human being sitting down and typing, and that's, like I said, bad, as I've said, and I've got on the board back here, I don't care if you misused your commas or you misspelled just. I know you're going to make misspellings. I know you're going to do those things. I know from professional and personal experience just how freaking hard it is to get 1,000, 2,000 words all perfectly correct. So as much as I would suggest you do that, as much as I'm always going to suggest that you read your material over and over, and honestly, you read it out loud like this to yourself and make sure it sounds good, I will not suggest you're going to get it all right. If it sounds like it feels like a person, like you sat down and write it, that's it. That's what I'm coming to your blog for. I'm not coming for any other reason except that. And let that sink in, right? You are a programmer who wants to blog. If you want to write a novel about programming, totally different topic. If you want to write a short story, anything that's, you're trying to expand past the masses, that's one thing. But if you're trying to show me how to use a feature in a software product, I need to be able to get an idea of what those features are, get an idea of the use cases, and get an idea of how it works. So as you're doing this, I'm going to suggest a little bit of structure, and that is decide what you want to talk about and put it down. Think about what you're trying to do. So I'm going to give an example. Let's say you're going to talk about how you make something, because that's usually what most of the things that I read were either opinions on, how people should build things, or they were how I can do a certain thing. And it comes down to, you want to tell people why. Okay, why are you reading this? Why are you doing this? And make a real kind of true sounding story. Names change to protect the innocent and you, whether you're innocent or not. And then how do you do it? Maybe I want to write a blog that shows you how to make a birthday cake. So the first step I would say is someone's having a birthday. We want to celebrate it. Cakes are the general thing, right? To give some indication why you might want to use a feature or do something or what you're trying to build. You're trying to make an app. You want to tell them the steps to making an app. And then break it down into the parts. Like for a birthday cake, I would suggest you break it down into 2 steps at least, making the parts and assembling the parts. So here's the first part you need to do is make sure you have the stuff. This is what you need to have. And if it's software, I want to be able to install this. If it's cake, I need to have icing. I want to build icing. I want to put cake. And maybe I have different types of icing. Let's just go with one. So to make the icing, you need to have butter and cream. I presume butter. That's what's in buttercream icing. So you have that. You have the pieces. You have the sugar. You have all the things. And then you tell how to assemble it. Put it in a bowl. Beat it with the mixer. So you show them how to use it. Tell them all the alternatives. If you don't want to make your own icing, you can do this. Then show them how to make the cake. And, here's the cake I'm going to use. Here's the features I'm going to use. And here's how you might use those to make this birthday cake. And if you want to make it a different way, here's some alternatives. Maybe some links. I'm not teaching you that, but here's some links to someone who will teach you that. So you have all the parts. You've built your code. Maybe you've written the pieces of code that are assembling it. Like I'm doing some coding to compare people, and I'm making little functions. I'm making little tools here and there. I'm getting those together. I'm testing things. I'm putting it together to do what it is I want to do. But then you got to assemble it. So for the birthday cake, I've got the cake. I'm going to put that there. Put a layer of icing of certain depth. I don't know how much you want to put in your cake. I would say this much icing and this much cake, but this is not a nutrition class. You can tell I'm not really a nutritionist. But so you want to put those together, and you want to put it on the outside, and you want to show how you decorate it, all the things you need. And then show them, what errors might occur. You might overbake the cake. You might not have made the icing right. How you might fix that. Anything you can tell people in this blog are things that would be great, because you're wanting to tell them yourself too. I don't know how many people make birthday cakes every day, but if you don't make them more than once a year, and then one year you don't make it, you go back and go, how did I do that? You're here. And as long as those technical steps are correct, that's what you're after. Okay. It's the technical steps. The story I wrote about, I made this cake for my child when they were 12, and they would do this and they loved it. And all that's good. All that stuff draws you in. But when you're going back and you're actually in the throes of making a cake, all you really care about is how did I do? And if you've told them how's the best way, show them alternatives, and showed you how to fix problems when you have them, you've got them. You've got everything people want. So don't worry about how your site looks. Worry about how the thing you're outputting looks, right? That code, it should run. When you go in and you copy the code and you paste it into a window, it should work. You shouldn't have to fiddle with it for too long to get it to do the thing it says it's going to do. Okay. That's today's tip. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it helps. Just get the technology correct. All right. Bye.